What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised. There's barely a movie that doesn't use CGI nowadays, but some of them use it for things you never thought possible. From outdoor scenery to face swapping and even paying $5,000 for a napkin, here are the 10 scenes and shows you didn't know used CGI. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Number 10. LEX'S face swap in Jurassic Park. It doesn't get any more classic than Jurassic Park. First of all, it's a movie done by Spielberg, which tells you just how good the movie is. Second, it's been famous for using CGI that was way ahead of its time. Even VFX artists today are trying to figure out how the man did it. The dinosaurs, the scenery, and even the actors, Spielberg's CGI is at the top of its game. What? You don't believe that the iconic director used CGI in his movie? What if we told you that in the scene where Ariana Richards, who plays little Lex Murphy, falls through the ceiling, was actually CGI? And no, it's not the entire scene, it's actually just the face of the actress. The reason they did this was because they didn't want to jeopardize the actress's safety, so they used a body double for the stunts. In this scene, that entire face is just a CGI swap-on. We told you this CGI was one of the best in the world. Number 9. Logan and the face swap. Man, we're kind of in the zone with all of these face swaps here. Regardless, we're here to talk about the face swaps that Hugh Jackman had to undergo for his last movie as Wolverine. In Logan, the studio had to use a lot of CGI for the Jackman's body double. And even though they did a great job at it, it's kind of crazy to think they swapped some stuntman's face with that of Jackman, and that was a done deal. Another thing that we thought was worth mentioning is the older version of Logan. Instead of using makeup to make the actor look much older, they opted in for smashing that like button if you haven't done so already. But no, they actually went for digital makeup. We bet you did know that all of those gray hairs were actually just an image someone drew on a computer screen.
No, it's a fantasy, Kate. See that? Those are the names of the people who just made this. They made this whole thing up.
Number 8. Mad Max Minor Touch-Ups. The fact that this movie took home 6 Academy Awards speaks of how good the remake of the 1979 version is. This speaks volumes about George Miller and his perfectionism. Now let's talk CGI. Although it's not a secret that they used grading to add all of those reddish and earthy tones to the movie, there's actually way less CGI than you would expect. But yeah, one of the things they digitally enhanced was the scenery. They added mountains where there were none. They drew sand dunes where they couldn't find any, and of course, most of those dangerous scenes with the explosions were fake. But that doesn't mean the vehicles were fake. Oh no, no, no. All of them were real. All of the chases and crashes actually happened. All of the gruesome fights had only a little color enhancement to make them pop. That was all. Number 7. Zodiac in 70s San Francisco. One of the biggest problems with filming a movie that's dated in the past is recreating the scenery. And it's precisely this that the VFX team had to recreate for the movie. First off, they had to get that panoramic shot of 1970 San Francisco just right. Then they had to make sure all of the town scenes were accurately depicted. That's why they were shot at the studio instead of on the streets of San Fran. And last but not least were the murder scenes. You see, this movie was about the famous Zodiac killer of the past, and David Fincher wanted to shoot all of the murder scenes on the place where they actually happened in real life. But the city hasn't stood still for 30+ years, so they had to do a little computer magic to actually get the desired outcome for the scenery. We don't know if you've noticed, but this movie wasn't easy to film.
If there's anything else I could do for you, maybe I could write you a check. Okay, I could give you my phone number.
Number 6. John Wick's $5,000 dog poop. As if that dog wasn't valuable enough, the director decided it would be interesting to slap a $5,000 price tag on its poop. Okay, you know that John Wick got that dog from his dead wife, and he has cherished it like nothing before. But when a group of nobodies go inside his house, steal his car, and killed his puppy, John Wick was finally back, baby, and he was out for blood. While John was shooting, kicking, and killing, the cast spent hours of precious shooting to film that pooch taking a dump. When they saw that it couldn't be done, they just gave up. Then they passed the scene onto the VFX team and told them to add a CGI dog poo on in the grass. This cost them $5,000, and that was for a split-second scene. Since no one even saw this thing, wouldn't it have been wiser to just buy some plastic poop from Amazon? They're like $5. We checked. The CGI napkin in The Fighter. While some of you thought that this movie doesn't use CGI, you'd be wrong. You see, the movie leads you to believe that there is no need to employ a VFX team for this movie, but they had one little detail they had to fix on the computer screens. It was the phone number that Charlene gave Mickey at the bar, and because of some laws and regulations in place, they were forbidden from showing the phone number on camera. Thinking they wouldn't need VFX, they spent hours trying to figure out how to blur out the phone number from the shot. But when everything else failed and they didn't want to spend any more time on a trivial thing, they went to the visual editors and told them to get it done.
Is this the real number?
We have to call it and see.
Number 4. Robert Downey Jr. was replaced after breaking his ankle. Did you know that Robert Downey Jr. was absent for 6 weeks from the set of Iron Man 3? This was because he had suffered an ankle injury, and the production couldn't continue because their main guy was missing. However, they found a solution. They would either use a completely digital version of Tony Stark, or they would hire a body double to shoot the scenes, and they would later add his face onto that of the body double. You can see this taking place in the scene where Tony Stark's home is completely destroyed by the bombing. Robert Downey Jr. just recorded his face for the digital manipulation, and the team used facial mapping to make a seamless swap.
How many buildings are there?
Am I to include the Belgian waffle stands?
It was rhetorical, just show me.
Number 3. The Wolf of Wall Street. Martin Scorsese has always wanted to do movies that don't include a lot of CGI. He says that they're the last resort. But you know what? In his legendary movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, he used special effects to capture some of those iconic scenes we know and love. Plus, the manipulation of nature in those wealthy neighborhoods was just a plus. Some of the scenes that we know were edited include the one where the lion roams around the office, the scene where Jordan Belfort and Donny Azoff are going on the yacht with their wives. That too was all shot in a studio. Prison scenes, the mansion party, the wedding party at the beach, and an array of other scenes were all shot in the freaking studio. Doesn't look like it, now does it?
I myself, I jerk off at least twice a day. Wow. Once in the morning, right after I work out, and then once right after lunch.
Really?
Number 2. Flipping a truck in The Dark Knight. Do you remember that scene where the Joker and Batman went head-to-head in The Dark Knight? The one where Batman manages to flip the Joker's truck and just with a couple of strings from his bat pod? Yeah, that's the one. But don't go off thinking that the entire scene was fake. They just had to hide the hydraulic piston that flipped an actual truck. Oh yeah, he flipped it. And there was a rider inside. But in order for them to make the back of the truck lift so high up in the air, they had to create a special pressurized piston that would do the job. And in the movie, it was the piston that needed to be covered using CGI, not the truck.
He missed!
Number 1. The CGI tear in Blood Diamond. And yet again, we have a movie where DiCaprio is king. And when you think about action movies, CGI is not the first thing that comes to mind. Although Blood Diamond doesn't use them too often, there is one scene in the end where actress Jennifer Connelly's performance was enhanced using CGI. You see, when Leo's character Danny made the last call to his dear Maddie, played by Jennifer, it was one of the saddest moments in the movie. But the director thought that her performance was a bit dry for the scene. So he took the footage to the special effects team and they added just one tear rolling down her cheek when Danny hangs up the phone. She couldn't make herself cry, so they had to resort to CGI. The devil is in the details, folks.
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
And on that note, we end this video. But hey, do you know any other scenes in which CGI was used? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.